All right, welcome into the Vitality Handbook. My name is Yao A. Owusu Jr., your resident Vitality consultant. To my left, I have Nicholas Lopez Jr., and to my right, we have the alien, the prolific creator, Andre Bibbins Jr. Don't get jealous. We got a Terminator over here, and I'm the wizard. Guys, we got a good one today. Season 3, thank you for joining in. Like, share, subscribe, join our community, comment. We're talking about recovery. And the theme for the entire season is how do we build generational health? We like the wealth thing, but generational health through our 5 pillars, and we're on recovery. Now, when we say recovery, we're talking about in the physical realm, what we can do with our physicality to recover. Sleep is another pillar that's different in the physical realm. I like routines. For me, if I'm talking about what I could give to our audience, is to get in a routine of what's going to help you rejuvenate. You might have one that you already know. You might see one that you want to try. I would say do your research, listen to us, and we'll kind of take you through that journey of how can you really understand physical recovery and how will that help in your life and then your generations to come. Nick, how are we going to spin this, my sir?
This is a passionate one for me. Just because if you've ever been in those communities, you can see people walking with limps, canes, walkers. It's more common. I mean, you see it everywhere, but you kind of, every time I see it, I've seen it growing up, and I always think, damn, if these people had access to what we're coming across or what we're building, what if their trajectory, what if their generational health changed down the road? So that's part of our mission, PVS, right? We have to empower the globe with wellness. But I also think about, you said routine, so that's like helping people organize. Some people don't have, or not used to organizing things. We spoke about that, check out the exercise
For sure.
episode where we spoke about whether you got to organize things or not. I think when it comes to physical recovery, the main feeling is you're in pain.
Facts.
Right? And so right now, the education is take this pill for that pain. That's most people, that's the culture of physical recovery.
Also
I feel physical pain, so I'm going to take this physical pill. And so I think, and so I'm going to ask, so I'm going to ask you guys, I have my own answer, I have my own thoughts, but I'm asking you guys, what do you think it's going to take to rewire that thinking? And think about these people are highly in pain, and they've already been conditioned by the most higher ups, the doctors, quote unquote, or the most higher ups, to take this physical pill for this physical pain. When we know, but they're still limping, but they're still in the walker, but they still have back pain. So what do you think it takes to have to rewire that culture of recovery?
Listen, it's going to stay on theme, generations. It's going to take this generation, us specialists, experts, coaches, trainers, people that are in this realm of saying that you can do it, preaching that we can do it, laying the blueprint for how you can do it, right? It's going to take our generation to change the generations to come. And if most of us start preaching, instead of taking that red pill, you're taking that blue pill, right? Getting out of that matrix. So the big pharmaceutical companies, they're saying, here's a pill for pain. And we're saying, take the placebo. It's not really a pill. It's your consciousness. We change your rewiring on what you're talking about in that physical realm, right? You should be able to use your body like how it was intended. That is going to heal you. It's very, 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 very simple, right? And there's 7 principles of movement patterns that we can think of, what a human can do. A human can squat, a human can hinge, they can lunge. They can do that in all 3 planes of motion. They can push, they can pull, right? They can rotate, and they have locomotion. We call that gait, running, walking, sprinting. That's what we can do. And if you can do all those things through whatever modality, some people can use calisthenics as their way of recovering from a heavy lift day. That can be part of your rest day. That's what we talked about, routine. Someone can use, okay, you're in pain, so we're going to do these exercises or these movements or these meditations to get you to get out of that pain and to go into another realm of consciousness. And that's what we're doing through meditation. So there's so many different realms of recovery. Dre, we're talking about recovery, physical recovery. You're the experienced man. This is experienced coach for years and years. I even, Yao A. Owusu Jr., come to Dre for some, dare I say, help and guidance. I have no shame in my game because he is that respected in his field to me, right? So when we're talking about Dre's advice, I want you guys to listen up. He doesn't talk a lot, but he talks very, very, very powerfully. Dre, I want you to tell me physical recovery and someone like you, an athlete like you, how has that changed? How's that changed you?
A certain scenario like yesterday, basically, dealing with life issues and not bad issues, but simply something is moving, having to move furniture. So I know for the next 2 weeks, he's going to be going through that, right? So what I do is basically, I do a program, a full body program, and just make sure he hits, the muscle group at least I would say in one circuit, right? So different muscle groups, shoulder, dip, push up, pull up,
Right.
more body weight stuff. And his strength stuff is basically lower body. So it'd be trap bar, but these repetitions are maybe, the trap bar would give him a 70%, a 70% weight where he's hitting 1 to 3 repetitions, right? So it's not something that's going to really tax him that he could recover from. Even, calisthenics, you could recover. So usually I would tell somebody to do 20, 25, especially my male clients. I'll tell them, give me a good 10, but I keep the flow going, right? The pull-ups, you could do 12, just give me 5, right? So we basically try to manage the stress in a training session until he gets over that hump with the moving and all that stuff. And then we go back hard, right? And then we'll find days where he's feeling good and we're going to take advantage of that, right? And then that's basically in a programming route. That's how, and that's a scenario. Also too, and the reason why you program that way, so that way they can recover for tomorrow so they can function mentally and physically. So they're not waking up fatigued and tired and sore from all that stress and stuff like that.
I love that when you say it in a programming route, and that's a scenario that master coach here will go through, but even in a life route, if you're talking about managing whatever an ailment that is, could be pain, which could be getting ready to do something like moving where people don't bend and twist like that, you're managing that through programming and routine. So Nick, I'm going to pass this to you when we're talking about routines or making the routines in a manner of helping someone heal their body, right? What would you say is the foundation of a routine?
Number route is an assessment, but I feel like that's the boring answer.
Okay.
It's boring. Like assessments are boring. So basically we take that opportunity to say,
Right.
First thing you gotta do is assessments. Assessments are boring, but you gotta see what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
So even though it's boring, so that's what it is, right? Like I didn't want to. Assessments are boring. That's why most people don't do it.
Right.
Even the individual themselves, he's in pain.
Right.
But they're coming, or he or she is in pain. They're coming out to train. They're in pain. They're coming out to train, and it's so boring or so mismatched with the culture that they're like, the pain. Like I don't care that I'm in pain. I just want to sweat.
Yeah.
So even on the consumer side, and the suppliers. So both the suppliers and the buyers find assessments, quote unquote, boring, but you got to differentiate, right? So that's one way to differentiate is to get really clear with your assessment style and just figure out what's going on. You're gonna find it. If someone's in pain, you're gonna find. You take them through assessment, you're gonna find. You're creating a controlled environment to see what breaks down first. Just like a scientist would create a control and then the actual experiment. So I think I will keep it like that.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. So that takes me into finding out what type of assessment would work for you, right? So we know we need a routine. He's adjusting the routine for his client specifically to get somewhere, which is moving the furniture around. Now we're talking about a different thing, right? An assessment to see what routine you're going to apply. Okay, so there's many types of assessments. I want to humanize it, bring it back to you guys. Give them a gem of what type of assessment you've used in the past that's worked for you or your clients, whether it's a strength assessment, whether it's a cardio assessment, whether it's a movement assessment, whatever you can think that you've used that really worked for your client, and maybe one of our viewers out there can resonate with them, and they can take this information and it can help them. All right, so Nick, we're going to start with you. You can use yourself as an example, right? If you have an awesome client that you've done an assessment on, and then you found a program that kind of helped them out through that situation, give us, I don't want it to be told testimonial, but sometimes that resonates with, with people that we really do this stuff, like we're really coaches, really finding transformation.
From the coach's lens, then I mean, honestly, I do that all the time now. Like it's become easy. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's become easy to assess, figure out what's wrong. Okay, your ankles are tight. Why are they tight? Okay, like Yao basically says, I'm not special. I just know.
Science.
It's just science, right? So it's like at this point, it's not exciting to me, but I want to share my experience with the audience. Like, what's exciting to me is what happens once this person gets assessed, they get out of pain, and now where does their mind go? So I think a lot of people don't realize that. Like they may evolve from like being pain-free or being able to move free and express free. They may see that. Sorry, let's rewind that. They may see being pain-free as like a chore because they got to do like, I got to exercise, but my knee hurts. I'm just going to buy this and that to cover it up. And I got to just do it. But when you take somebody whose knee's been hurting them for 10 years or 20 years, you assess them, you figure out what's the cause of that. And then it's no longer there. Then you see a spark in their eyes where it's like, now they're thinking, it's dope to see that in an individual. And I think I would say my gem is just the power of, even though assessments can be boring or just part of the process, or just monotonous, the power of taking someone out of pain through movement is, you should experience that. You should get to a place where it's not just luck. Because I remember I used to feel like that in the past. Maybe I do this right, but once you get to a space from the coaching lens, since Yao took me there in the coaching lens, when you know it's a guaranteed process, then it's dope to experience that from the individual. Because, I mean, think about what you guys, like, how empowered it feels to just be able to perform. Like, imagine an individual who's been in pain for years, and all of a sudden now they could even touch their toes, or
Right.
I can pick up my kid and not have any. I want to do this.
Yeah.
Or I want to, like, it's dope to
Very
see that
emotional.
spark.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
emotional, for
yes.
sure, for sure. I love that. So bringing it home to that emotion of seeing someone transform their energy, their movement capability, their strength, their confidence. I love that angle. So Dre, we're talking about physical recovery.
Just what I'm thinking. Basically, so, like you said, the assessment, right? So after you do all the assessment stuff, like Nick said, now you just know. Like y'all said, now we just know. It's not rocket science. Like you said, it's science, but it's simple. It's not rocket science. After you do your assessment, you see what's happening, what's in pain, what's injured, and then you program, once again, levels and steps, right? So you can't be afraid of strength training. You can't be afraid of mobility training. You can't be afraid of flexibility training, whatever, all these things that's going to help straighten up the muscle, right? The tendons, all those, the stuff around it, all, et cetera, et cetera. And it's programming it and putting all those things together, and it's go level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, till you get from 10%, 20%, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Then you're 100%, right? And then once again, you're going to have little. It's a nagging injury, right? You could get healthy, but might be something nagging there. You can't get healthy and then say, okay, I'm healthy. Let me stop doing what I was doing that got me stronger. You still have to keep on doing it. It's either before you leave the house, when you're in the gym, wherever you at, just do something where the injury or pain is at. Just pick 2 or 3 movements. You could do something simple. You could use a wall. You could use anything, right? So, yeah.
I love that. So actually taking a micro lens on things that you can do to kind of help that physical realm. I want to wrap this up with saying both of them are right? So obviously great minds, we all think alike, But in the physical realm, you want to think about your mindset, so your consciousness, how you approach it. Don't assessments, like Nick said, are boring, right? So things that are consistent and precise and will give you the same results over and over and over again sometimes can be boring, and that's called results. So if you want results to actually recover from whatever an ailment you have to have assessments. So change your mindset of, if you're in pain, you want to discover more awareness. I want to be aware of where the source of that pain is coming from. And if you attack the source of that thing, then the pain will then go away. So I want you to think about that from a mental aspect when you're talking about recovery. Get your mind on your healing, that you're going to heal. It has to start with your belief. If you do not have the belief that you're not going to do something, then obviously your body's going to say you can't do it. Like, that's the end of the day. I'm injured, I'm this, I know these things might not be PC, but yeah, that's you guys. That's what you're doing. At 30 years old, at 25 years old, at 40 years old, no real ailments. It's just here. We have to strengthen your mind, okay? So we always want to understand that every single day you have the choice and the responsibility to heal your body. You can do that through movement. You can do that through exercise, nutrition, sleep, mindset, you understand. But through the physical realm, I get very passionate about this, all right? Like, comment, share, subscribe to our channel. Nicholas Lopez Jr., Andre Bivens Jr., I'm Yao A. Owusu Jr., your resident vitality consultant. Let's get into it.